London is about to decide which transport projects are real and which are still on long-term hopes. The Bakerloo line extension to Lewisham remains a long-term proposal.
Over the next decade, billions of pounds could completely reshape how London moves. New tube lines, new DLR extensions, entire communities finally getting real connections for the first time. But here is what most people don't realize. Just because a project is announced doesn't mean it will ever be built. Some schemes are edging closer to reality, while others are still waiting for funding, political backing, or final approval. So today, we are looking at London's biggest transport projects and separating what's genuinely moving forward from what's still a long-term ambition.
From this platform, the DLR is already proving it can evolve, while other lines are still stuck in planning.
The Docklands Light Railway has transformed parts of East London for decades. Now, planners want to extend it across the River Thames to Thamesmead, one of London's largest communities without a rail station. If approved and funded, it would become one of the DLR's biggest expansions in the recent years, bringing rail into a community that has waited decades for a station.
One project has quietly pulled ahead of the rest, and that is the one London is most likely to build next.
What makes this project stand out is that it's already well beyond the idea stage. Transport for London has developed detailed proposals for the route, carried out multiple rounds of public consultation, and continues to progress the scheme through the planning process. While funding and statutory approvals are still needed before construction can begin, the DLR extension to Thamesmead is currently one of Transport for London's most advanced proposed rail projects. Under the current proposals, the extension would branch off the existing DLR at Gallions Reach, serve a new station at Beckton Riverside, cross beneath the River Thames through a new tunnel, and terminate at a brand new station in Thamesmead. If built, the extension is expected to support up to 30,000 new homes, create up to 10,000 jobs, and bring rail access to one of London's largest communities without a railway station. For years, Thamesmead has been one of London's biggest missing links. But while the DLR extension has gathered momentum, it is far from the only major transport project competing for London's future. The question is, which schemes are actually moving forward and which ones are still waiting for their chance?
This is Elephant and Castle, the current southern terminus for the Bakerloo line. For decades, Transport for London has planned to extend the line further into southeast London. But despite years of planning, construction has yet to begin. So, what exactly has kept one of London's biggest transport projects waiting for so long?
The Bakerloo line extension is one of London's longest running proposed transport projects, and despite decades of planning, it remains a key part of the capital's long-term transport ambitions. Under the current proposals, the line would continue beyond Elephant and Castle with new underground stations serving communities in southeast London before terminating at Lewisham. A further extension towards Hayes has also been safeguarded as a possible future phase, although no decision has been taken to proceed with that section. The case of extending the Bakerloo line goes far beyond creating a few extra stations. Large parts of southeast London have never had direct access to the London Underground despite significant population growth and increasing demand for public transport. Supporters argue that the extension would improve connectivity, provide additional transport capacity, reduce pressure on parts of the existing rail network, and support the delivery of thousands of new homes and jobs by making it easier for people to travel across the capital. Transport for London has already completed extensive planning work, technical assessments, and multiple rounds of public consultation. The proposed route also continues to be safeguarded, meaning the corridor is protected
from developments that could prevent the railway from being built in the future. However, safeguarding a route does not mean construction is guaranteed. Before work can begin, the project still requires a confirmed long-term funding package along with the approvals needed to move into delivery. That is one of the reasons why the Bakerloo line extension has remained on the drawing board for so long.
While there is broad recognition
that improved transport links would benefit Southeast London, major rail infrastructure projects require significant long-term investment and commitment from both national and local government. Compared with some other proposed rail schemes, the Bakerloo extension remains a longer-term project. By contrast, the proposed DLR extension to Thamesmead is generally regarded as one of Transport for London's most advanced rail expansion proposals currently under development. Even so, the Bakerloo line extension has not been abandoned. The route remains safeguarded. The planning work already completed continues to provide a strong foundation, and the scheme is still viewed as an important part of London's future transport network. For now, however, Elephant and Castle remains the southern end of the Bakerloo line, while one of London's most anticipated underground extensions continues to wait for the next major step. This is Clapham Station, one of Britain's busiest railway stations. If Crossrail 2 is ever built, this station you see right here will become one of the most important interchanges. But despite years of planning, the project still has no confirmed funding to begin construction. So, what does its future really look like?
Crossrail 2 is a very different proposition
from the Bakerloo line extension.
This isn't simply an extension of an existing underground line. The long-standing concept is for an entirely new railway running across London, connecting the southwest of the capital with central London and the northeast. Under the established route proposals, trains would run through a new central tunnel, linking major destinations including
Wimbledon,
Clapham Junction, Victoria, Tottenham Court Road, Euston, St Pancras, Angel, and the northeast of London. From the core route, services were designed to connect into wider national railway network, potentially spreading the benefits far beyond the new tunnel itself. That explains why Clapham Junction
matters so much.
Crossrail 2 was designed to make the huge interchange a key station on the new route, creating another high-capacity connection into central London. Rather than every passenger continuing towards the same already busy central London terminals, a new cross-London railway could distribute journeys across the network. But Crossrail 2 was never conceived simply as a way of making existing journeys quicker. The much bigger argument has always been capacity. London is expected to continue growing over the long term, and the previous assessments concluded that Crossrail 2 could support around 200,000 additional homes and around 200,000 jobs across London and the wider southeast. So why, after all the planning, aren't we watching Crossrail 2 being built today? The answer lies largely in money and timing. Significant development work was undertaken over many years, including consultation, engineering, and route planning. But in 2020,
as part of Transport for London's funding agreement with the government,
further project development was paused.
Unlike the Elizabeth line, Crossrail
never reached the construction stage. The proposed railway remains a longer-term priority, and protecting the ability to build it in the future remains important. Parts of the route have been formally safeguarded since 2015, a planning mechanism designed to prevent conflicting development from making a future railway impossible or substantially more difficult and expensive to construct. And this is where the story becomes particularly interesting in 2026. Transport for London has been carrying out work on Crossrail 2, dating its assessment of London's housing and economic growth needs and reviving the format of the scheme itself. According to the Mayor of London in January 2026, the review was expected to be completed in late summer 2026. Depending on the outcome, the immediate priority would be to work with the Department of Transport to refresh the existing safeguarding directions, protecting the preferred routes so that London retains the option of progressing Crossrail 2 when the circumstances and crucially the finances allow.
That leaves Crossrail 2 in an unusual position. It isn't under construction, but neither has it simply disappeared. For now, the route remains protected while the future of the project continues to be reassessed. Whether Crossrail 2 eventually becomes one of London's great new railways or remains one of its biggest unbuilt ambitions is still an open question. So what does all this actually tell us about the future of London's railways?